Oh my gosh, shout out to everybody in the chat. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I was trying to fix my headphones here. Shout out to everybody. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Look at this craziness. It just gets caught up on the hair, the headphone, and the headset does. What can I say right now? It's a lot going on in this world. Hey everybody, come on in. Let me shout out all my members. Peekaboo, Dukes, Chico. Let's see, Miss Clover. Yes, Chico's in the house. Bobby, When Nature Calls. Shout out to everybody. Generally Jenny Gumby. I'm like Teresa. Welcome. I'm a little lost for words right now. Your dad is in Memphis. I was there visiting my family last week. Our church prayed for the family. Oh my gosh. Even when you're, it's a lot. Hey Padilla, welcome El Padilla. Hey Clem, I almost missed you. Hey Dukes, welcome guys. Um, so let me give you guys a little rundown about what's going on, okay? Hey Ebony Eyes, I'm sure it's kind of breaking news. I am not going to be playing the footage, because it is very disturbing. It's a disturbing footage, right? So what we have here is, and this is just a timeline of the investigation into Tyree Nichols' death after a traffic stop and arrest by Memphis police. The way I see this situation, it was 5 men against one. Okay, he was stopped. What they said was reckless driving. That's what they said it was. Okay, and then what you see there is just this beating that goes on and on of this man. This man was 29 years old, young man. Everybody hounding over him. Okay, from what I've seen, I just don't think that we can watch that footage. There's just been so much footage out there right now with um, stuff that we've been watching. I don't know how else to look into it. I don't know. Thank you, Chico. Thank you. And I will definitely get into the details here. I don't know how that happened. The team of cops haven't had trouble prior. This could have been prevented. Absolutely. So let's get into this and breakdown of a timeline for those that are saying what's going on. So nearly 3 weeks after a traffic stop in Memphis, Tennessee resulted in a violent arrest and subsequent death of a driver, police are expected to release footage of the incident to the public. Tyree Nichols, 29-year-old black man, was hospitalized after the arrest on January 7th and died 3 days later from injuries sustained, according to police. 5 officers from the Memphis Police Department, who are also black, were fired and face criminal charges. I find it interesting that they wanted to emphasize that who are also black. I get it. Like I don't know how to feel about that sentence. And if you guys, I see the tone of the way in which this is written. I don't know how I feel about it. The family of Nichols and attorneys have met with police and city officials to view the traffic stop video recordings, which have been described as vicious, prolonged beatings that lasted for minutes after officers chased down a fleeing Nichols. Memphis Police Chief, I think it's Caroline C.J. Davis, decried the officers' conduct, adding additional officers continue to be investigated. 5 against 1. 5 against 1 on a reckless stop. Okay? This is not just a professional failing, Davis said. This is a failing of basic humanity towards another individual. This incident was heinous, reckless, and inhumane. And in the vein of transparency, when the video is released in the coming days, you will see this for yourself. After charges were announced Thursday, Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland said of the accelerated investigation, "We have worked to get resolution to these matters in record time because we take them extremely serious." Here's what we know about the timeline of the incident. Investigators from authorities and reactions from Nichols' families. Okay, so yeah, Chico. I was like, who wrote this article? Apparently, bricks are appearing in the streets trying to. If anybody's in Memphis, please be safe. I don't know if there's any protesting going on right now over there. It sounds like there might be. Yeah, there's a racial element. I don't know if this is a racially motivated. I don't know the details to it. But what I do know is that there was police brutality and excessive force. They did lose their jobs. Thank goodness. They need charges. They have been charged. They shut down the bridge. Ooh wee. Wow. It's getting heavy. It's getting heavy. Like heavy. January 7th, a traffic stop with fatal consequences. January 7th, around approximately 8:30 p.m., officers pulled over a vehicle for suspected reckless driving. According to the statement from Memphis Police, a confrontation occurred between officers and the vehicle's driver, later identified as Nichols, who then fled on foot. According to Memphis Police, officers apprehended him and another confrontation occurred, resulting in Nichols' arrest, police said. An ambulance was called to the scene of the arrest after Nichols complained of shortness of breath, police said, and he was transported to a nearby hospital in critical conditions. On January 10th, 3 days after the stop, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations announced Nichols had died due to his injuries sustained in the use of force incident with officers, according to the statement. Here we go, and we come to January 15th, okay? And shout out to everybody that's coming in. Hey, leave it to Bieber. It's been, and let me hold up 1 minute, guys. It's the hair that gets caught in between, so I gotta kind of fix it. Hey, Pigeon Mac, welcome. Hey, Lynn, you're about 3 hours away. Lynn, let us know how the city is doing. It sounds like people were saying that there's bricks in the streets, like the violent protesting could potentially ensue. We don't really know. New York City protesters not looking so good. Okay. It's a lot of outrage. Ambulance didn't show up until over 30 minutes, says Kelly. From the time they were done beating him, he laid on the ground for over 30 minutes. Oh my God. Jamie says, working in Memphis is scary. I was on an ambulance there for a week and won't ever do it again. It was 16 years ago and not as bad as it is now, Lord. Oh my gosh. Hey, Ebony Eyes. I don't know if I greeted you. Generally, Jenny says, I agree with the right to protest, but not to destroy. Yeah. It's. I want to make sure I don't miss any more comments here. Yeah. I know this can happen anywhere, but he's far from me. Right. Absolutely. There's protesters here. Most are from out of town. A few, Memphis. Is that how you say it? Memphis? Memphinians? I don't want to say it wrong. Chico, let me know if I said it right. Memphinians are there too, but they have shut down. They are way shut down. Traffic is at standstill. Okay. I've got where it says, I mean, they're chanting no justice, no peace, but they were charged though, which is justice. Sue me for saying that, but if they weren't, would that be different? If they get off, that is injustice. I mean, I don't know, right? Krusty says she's watching the protests in Memphis. Protesters have vowed to shut down the bridge to cost the economy millions. They ain't burning the city. Guys, these are 5 police officers, right? Why does this keep happening? Lord Gumby, like the old Rico, shout out to Rico. She's in the chat. She said, look, the old bridge is closed down. Lynn Lovelight says, my heart hurts. Oh my God, please, Lord, we don't need any more of this. Kelly, good point. No justice yet. They have not been convicted. They might have been charged, but they're not convicted. They lost their jobs, but they're not convicted yet. Let's keep that in mind. I think it's a great statement. Hey, Miss Leslie, how are you? This is about police reform. Memphis used these traffic stops to intimidate. Reckless driving, guys. Reckless driving. Like, that's crazy. I don't know. I am tired of this too. Absolutely. Give me one sec. Sorry, y'all. I just want to make sure my hair gets picked up in there. Whoo, they're all. Oh, Shamina. Shamina. She said they're all out on bail. That's BS. What? They're all out on bail, guys. The old bridge is shut down. Hey, I don't want to use your name. Welcome. Law enforcement needs to be held 100% accountable. Peekaboo says they're all out on bail. Mm-mm-mm. That's crazy. That is crazy right there, guys. Officers are not. This is wrong. They need to be charged. Absolutely. Okay, so Shamina says four of them are out and four out of the five are out on bail. Got you. Ooh, that was like a tongue twister to read. Hey, business, welcome. Demons walk among us for sure. To do this is another human being. To another human being, I can't fathom what his mother is going through. Absolutely. Rico, did you watch that? I can't watch it, guys. I said, nah, 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 man. I've been watching too much police videos. There's only so much I can handle, guys. He couldn't stand up on his own. Absolutely. How the hell? Like, over reckless driving? Are you kidding me? Let's read this other timeline. Following the traffic stop, the officers involved were relief of duty, a standard departmental procedure while investigation into their use of force began, Memphis police said. The TBI and the Shelby County District Attorney's Office were also enlisted to investigate. Preliminary hearings indicate, or excuse me, preliminary findings indicate the serious nature of the officer's conduct during the stop, police said. After reviewing various sources of information involving this incident, I have found that it is necessary to take immediate and appropriate action, Chief Davis said in a statement released January 15. Today, the department is serving a notice to the officers involved of the impending administrative actions. The department needed to follow a required procedural process before disciplining or terminating government civil servant employees, the statement added. In the days after Nichols' death, his family attorney, Ben Crump, repeatedly voiced their desires for the release of the body cams and surveillance footage of the traffic stops. This kind of in custody death destroyed community trust if agencies are not swiftly transparent, Crump said in a statement. January 18th, federal investigators declared on January 18th, the Department of Justice said a civil rights investigation has opened into the death of Nichols. Last week, Tyree Nichols tragically died a few days after he was involved in an incident where Memphis Police Department officers used force during his arrest. Kevin G. Ritz, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee, said in a statement, acknowledging that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's ongoing efforts, the U.S. Attorney's Office, in coordination with the FBI Memphis field office, and the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice has opened a civil rights investigation. Ritz said, declining to provide further details January 20th. And here we have the names and pictures of these officers. The Memphis Police Department has terminated 5 police officers in connection with the death of Tyre Nichols. Tatarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III. And the bottom is Desmond Mills Jr. and Justin Smith. Mm, 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 mm. Hey, BB Gen Gen. Hey, I said it backwards. BB Gen Gen 1. Hey, I don't know what to say. Hey, Renee, all 5 cops are out on bail at the home with their families. Let that sink in. I wouldn't say no justice. I mean, they've been charged, right? So they're gonna go through the procedural process, right? So we're waiting on that. Um, they've been charged. They have criminal pending. It's a criminal matter at this point. Ooh, you guys in the chat are cutting up. I feel important for those who were done injustice to watch something, but no one should put their mental health on the line viewing stuff like this ever. No. No, 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 absolutely. Yes. Miss Leslie, if I see another video of somebody being beat by the police, crying for their mothers, like, I can't, yo, this shit is scary. It's scary. I can't do it anymore. Yes. Oh my gosh. Miss Leslie, you got to take care of yourself too, like while you're watching this stuff, because it could really get to you. I can only watch so much, guys. We, I mean, it's just crazy. Lord, 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 Lord. Hey, Petty Kitty. They have been charged. I'm upset and angry. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don said, news said he was 3 houses away from his mom. I can't watch. It's just a lot. It's a lot. I believe you guys. Guys, I've been watching, look, I've been watching a lot of police videos. I don't think I could, like, once I watched George Floyd, I couldn't watch anymore. I said that this is just like, ooh, I can't. Mm-mm. Absolutely. Kelly, I would agree with you on that. It's, yeah, please, mental health, okay? Oh, Lord. It definitely does break my heart. It absolutely, guys. I'm looking at your guys' comments. Um, absolutely, Ella Bella. You guys, if this is too much, you should take definitely step away from it. I don't agree that you have to sit there and watch the video. I agree that there's ways to do justice. You don't have to do that. And no. If anything, it's a little bit like, okay, no, Miss Leslie, don't watch it. His family has asked people to watch it, but I'm tired of see. I am too, Krusty. I am too. I might be able to watch later on, but I won't be able to watch right now. I can't. I can't. I can't show it to you guys either. It's just, feel free. It's all over YouTube. Everybody's watching. I just can't. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, 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 guys. You know what? It's become to this point where anybody that wears a blue uniform, you don't know if they're a trustworthy person or not. You come to think that, like, I don't know if it's police reform or like what do we do with this? What do we do with this? Yeah, Chico, I'm gonna drop the link. Krusty, I don't know if you guys want to hop on and just sound off. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it. You guys join me. It's right there. Um, all I ask is that you guys show me your face so I know that I don't, I don't want to get porn bombed because you know how these trolls work. Hooey. It's okay, and that's a good point, but like, mm, I think it's one of those things where it's like, I come from that generation where you're supposed to. All right, Chico, you could turn off your camera if you don't want to be on camera. I see you now. You good? All right.
Um,
Hey, Chico, how are
so
you?
actually, first of all, it's Memphian.
It's Miphian. See, I was like, is it?
Memphian.
How did I say it?
I don't remember now, but
Memphinians?
you said it
Is it? I
wrong.
said Memphinians.
It's Memphians. Got that?
I got you.
Um, watching that video, and I do not. Do not watch it if you cannot stomach that. I'm telling y'all now, I'm not lying. I can call my mama, she'll tell you. I was on the phone crying tears because I couldn't understand how they could do somebody like that,
Mm-mm.
regardless if he ran. But to answer folks' questions in the chat, because I seen them going back and forth. Yes, all of them have bonded out. We do have a police union here. So, yes, they're going to bond their own out, whether on the force or off the force. That's who gets their jobs back. It's the police union. So, the police union bonded them out. They're not going to admit it, but they did. Second of all,
Wow.
these officers have got the best lawyers in town. Everybody know and everybody can look up this case called The Preacher's Wife.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know Ballin got the preacher's wife off of murder after she admitted on the stand that she killed her husband.
5 against 1. I'm kind of wondering. Did they probably know? Did they know Tyree? Do you know what I'm saying? It almost seems like a targeted attack.
There's rumors going around, and I don't want to speak on those rumors because I don't feel like there's no truth to it. There's no bearings to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Peekaboo and some of them, and Rico, and then some of them from Memphis have probably heard the same rumor I've heard. I do not feel like there's any bearings to that. I think after watching the videos and what I saw, I really think the officers got pissed off because if you would have saw the first video that where they had the first encounter where he originally ran, one of the cops accidentally pepper sprayed their own cops. So they were literally flushing his eyes out.
Wow.
And he was pissed off. And I know for a fact, I worked with MPD at a store. I know for a fact this came out of a lieutenant's mouth.
Wow.
If you run, that's an automatic ass whooping. And you better hope we don't hit you with the car.
But 5 of them? 5 of them.
That's the pack mentality they have here. The Scorpion unit is known to do bogus shit. I'm just being honest with you. They went in one of my stores. Everybody know meth, fentanyl, crack is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And one of my stores, they actually sell pipes.
Oh my gosh.
And Scorpion unit went in there to that store and said, we want every name and every license plate that ever comes into the store to buy crack pipe or meth pipe.
But Chico, everybody in the chat, you got Rico saying facts, Peekaboo saying facts. Then Peekaboo said that that unit ain't no good, y'all. For real,
They're
for real.
not. That
Wow.
unit came from, so what they built that unit off of, they built the unit. These are 50 cops from all over the country. We don't know if these cops have been fired from a previous job, but we hired them for a special unit that's supposed.
Oh no. Chico, are you there? I think her internet
You
froze.
see how they treat the black community
Yeah.
by black officers. And I know what I saw in that video. There's more than black officers in that video. It may have not been during the actual beating, but the initial encounter, there was more than black officers.
What are we supposed to do though? Like, Krusty's over here saying he ran because he was scared, but like,
He ran. Okay, that's another thing. Literally a day prior to this happening, it was on the news, and y'all can go look it up. News channel 3, 5, 13, 24, and 30. It was on the news that they had caught 4 young men impersonating an officer,
no.
pulling them over and robbing them, and they had plain clothes on and had the blue lights. So that's why he ran.
Wow.
I told somebody in the chat the other day, I've literally seen Memphis undercover with Texas tags. You think I'm finna fucking stop for you? You finna follow me to the precinct, motherfucker. I'm not stopping.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, these cops here are dirty. Yes, you do have some good cops because I know some good cops. I
Yeah.
do. But you got some, and the mentality here is let me fit in with the good old boys because it's still old money in this town. What a lot of folks fail to realize, there's a lot of old money in this town.
It's that good old boy mentality. I don't know, and being from the West Coast, I want to say we don't really see it as much, but it's like more prevalent over there. I don't know, maybe. And then I was just watching this Murdoch stuff too, and I said, "Damn, that good
Yeah,
old boy mentality. It's a little bit different over there." I
it
don't know what to
is.
say.
Yeah, like it's like me and my homegirl was having this conversation today, and this is no lie. I'd rather get pulled over by a white cop than a black cop.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So does that tell you?
Yeah. Anything to fit in.
I'd rather get pulled over by a white cop versus a black cop. And I've told y'all before, I promise I'm not that person. Hell, I'm mixed. My mama's white. And she was on the phone with me. She's like, they beat that boy
They did.
unnecessarily. They beat that boy. And when they kept hyping it up to the Rodney King situation, we're all like, okay, here they go. They're hyping it up so we can get pissed off and they're going to expect us to burn this city down. Is which, if you go on any of the news stations and you go look at their comments, everybody was expecting the worst, especially from the black community. They expected us to loot, tear down stores, and just go hog wild.
Yeah. I remember Rodney King. I think I was like 5 when Rodney King happened, and that, I mean, we couldn't even go to school
That's what
when
I
that
was.
went
I,
down.
I was telling somebody else that, and I was like, I know the anger because I'm angry right there with y'all. I'm mad as hell. I'm right there with y'all. But it does us no good to tear this city down. It does us no good. Because
Maybe
at the
that
end of the day, guess who's gonna pay for that? Us, the taxpayers. Just like guess who's gonna pay for this huge ass lawsuit that's gonna get filed because they have every right to. And if I was that parent, first of all, if I was his parent, I couldn't watch his death a million times. I was against the video being shown because his family is gonna have to relive that every time.
yeah. And I mean, it sounds like people were saying in the chat, they wanted people to watch it, and I said, "Listen, I for my mental health, I can't. Maybe later on."
I've been sitting here saying, don't watch it. Do not watch it if you cannot handle it, stomach it. It's worse than George Floyd. I can tell you that.
Oh, no. See? That in George Floyd, I was sick. I couldn't watch
Like
that. That made me sick.
it's bad, and I don't recommend nobody watching it. If you know mentally you're not in that place to watch it, please don't. This is
Y
coming from somebody who lives in Memphis, who was born and raised in this city. This is my home, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely hurt by this.
It's come to this point. This is so crazy though, Chico, and how do you feel about this? Because it seems like it's come to this point where there's gotta be, like, a police video in order for something to, like, actually take off, for somebody to bring some attention to something, right? It's
Yeah,
so crazy. It's come to that. Like, there has to be a police video or footage in order for there to be attention to something. It's like Shanquella Robertson's another example of that. Where
yes,
shit has to be in video, otherwise it's like we're
it
in a
didn't happen.
society. It didn't happen. It didn't
Yes,
happen.
if it's not on video, it didn't happen. I know. And but it's just that video is so graphic and everything that happened to that boy and listening to him call out for his mama.
I can't. Mm-mm. Thank you, Ashley. Everybody's like,
That's
don't watch it, don't watch it.
that's something I don't recommend nobody watching. If you have kids, don't watch it. Let me put it like that. Cause could you watch your child?
Oh, 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 no, no.
And that's why I said that. And this is another thing. And this is why I was torn on that video. Yes, I know the family wanted it out, but here's the thing. Now find a jury that hasn't seen that video and won't be biased to the jury.
Absolutely.
They're gonna have to hold that in a completely different court setting and jurisdiction because there's no way. I'm pretty sure half of Memphis saw that video tonight.
Oh,
Everybody was at the house waiting to tune in for this video, unless you was at work.
wow. And my Uh, It Talks Baby Girl, shout out to her. She said that I just got a message right now, and um, I think the protesters are happening right now, and we could probably watch them right now. I'm just gonna log in there because we have direct access. Oh, Lord, Lord have mercy. Let me go ahead and put this on the screen so you guys can watch as well. That is this the protesting is a little bit different. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Here it is. I'm gonna show it to you guys, okay? Um,
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that was another thing. Like I know the news pointed out because they asked a lot of people where they're from. A lot of folks said Atlanta, Mississippi, Alabama. I was like, here we go. This is my thing. I just don't want no blame on the black community. We had nothing to do with it. We want justice just like everybody else. We we had already said we wasn't burning, looting, tearing up nothing. So
yeah, I think and if that's the case, people got to pay attention as who's protesting then, you know?
bingo, because they said on the news and they asked quite a few people where they're from. Half of them was not Memphians.
Okay, because you know what I'm saying? If you got people driving from California to specifically, protest and it's not going to be peaceful, people need to know like where everybody's coming from so that we don't shift blame all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, and that was my thing. Like, just don't do that to us, please don't. We're already hurting in this city, so don't cause more pain and turmoil. And then folks is looking at us like we had something to do with it,
right, right,
because
absolutely,
we didn't. A lot of us want justice for this boy. Everybody know it's wrong. Everybody knows it's wrong.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, it's just a lot. Like, and you could see some of this and and I'm just saying, I'm like, oh my lord, has anybody been arrested so far? Do we know of from this
No,
protesting?
not that we know of. I know they shut all the stores down and everything at 5 o'clock because, of course, they was releasing the video at 6. So I know they had shut everything down early, like they canceled all school activities. So any games or anything like that was canceled tonight
Yeah.
because they expected civil unrest. They did.
Oh my gosh. That is I mean, I'm looking at it now. It's like people are just walking the streets. Is this an organized protest? I'm hoping that there's some level of organization to this.
So from my understanding, it's Black Lives Matter out there.
Okay.
And you remember what I sent you, right?
Yeah.
I think it's mighty funny that they showed up now because for the past 2, 3 weeks, they haven't said anything. It wasn't until Sharpton and Crump started sounding off on it that they got involved.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
know for a fact them folks was supposed to be at my baby cousin's funeral. They didn't show up because it was black on black crime. My baby cousin was 7 years old, got shot in the neck by a stray bullet that wasn't even meant for him. Died in front of his best friend,
Oh
and they
my
were supposed
god.
to be there. We had 3 kids die back to back to gun violence that weekend, and Jaden Knox was one of them. And Black Lives Matter was supposed to be there. Well,
Wow. Heather said that they bust people in from Ferguson. That was not they're busing people into the protests?
like I said, one girl from Atlanta, I don't know about busing. I don't know nothing about that. I'm not going to say nothing about that.
Yeah.
I'm not down there. I chose not to go on Front Street because they're literally downtown, which is
Yeah.
like Front Street, Main Street. They're even past Bill. So they're close to like the interstate, the bridge, the old bridge and the new bridge. And well, let me go ahead and explain. The old bridge is the old bridge that goes across to Arkansas. The
Mhm.
new bridge is the new bridge that lights up every night. That's when we say the old bridge is old 55. But
Mm.
they shut that bridge down. Now I don't know if they shut 40 down yet.
Krusty, you don't have to, you could be off camera, my love. You don't. She said I can join, but I'm wearing my hair bonnet. You could. What am I going? Listen. Stop it. You can join. Who cares what you're wearing? I'm gonna drop the link for Krusty, guys. She said,
Oh yeah, Rico, I just seen your comment. Yeah, my mother's a supervisor out there. They shut the plant down. Of course, she was off
did
today
they?
anyway,
Okay,
but
good.
they shut the plant down completely.
So
They
they let
told
people go
all
home.
Nike employees, take your ass home.
Okay, so they tell people go home. We're shutting down for this specific reason.
Yes, baby,
Mama,
Dollar Tree was closed at 2 o'clock. I was so mad. I ain't even
what?
gonna lie to you. I was mad. I know it's a good cause and everything, but I was
Oh,
mad about that. I'm like, damn, we ain't even close to 6 o'clock. Y'all closing at 2.
Jesus. Oh my gosh. Well, now it's $1.25. I used to go to the Dollar Tree all the time until they raised the prices. I mean, I know it's just 25 cents, but damn, it adds up, especially right now.
Yeah, dude, that's $1.35 with tax. I know.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm like, "Yeah, this shit is adding up." I used to just walk to the Dollar Tree, just love, just go in there. And now I'm like, I feel kind of guilty. I don't think I
Well,
could
see,
buy
they
them.
be having my tall boys in there, and so I'll rack up on my tall boys. Like today, when I went to Walmart, they didn't have none of my drinks in cases, so I was like, try to go to Dollar Tree. Nope, they closed. I was like,
Yes. Let me see who else. All right, Krusty. Do you want to get off camera? All right, I'm gonna add you on. Hey, Krusty.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear her, Chico?
yeah, I can hear.
All right, go
Okay,
ahead.
sorry,
Sound off, Krusty.
I'm wearing my Bluetooth headphones, so I wasn't sure. So I'm just gonna apologize because I'm very militant, and I don't want to be offensive to you for allowing me onto the panel, but I
Mhm.
have to speak because I've been involved with the Black Lives Matter movement since about 2015. When Mike Brown was killed in the streets of Ferguson. I watched his body on Facebook lay in that street for hours.
Oh my
And
God.
I know people who were involved in that protest. And I have been active, like I said, I protested from Seattle, from the CHOP days, if you remember CHOP, Chaz. I've been to Portland. I've been tear gassed. I've been shot with rubber bullets. I have been on the ground.
Oh
And
wow.
I,
Mm.
I'm just going to say this right now. One thing that pisses me off is when people start talking about George Soros paying to have protesters coming to town. That is not true. That is not accurate. There are people who do travel from city to city. I know a couple of people who do that, and a lot of them are documentarians who are going around making documentaries about the protest. I know one person in particular, her name is Ashley. She has been going to protest from Seattle to, I think, San Diego. I think she's currently down in California. As I do want to speak about Atlanta because Atlanta has been going through its own police protest. The city approved like a $50 million police training compound in the middle of a black area of Atlanta, and they're going to displace, dozens, hundreds of people. And there have been protests in Atlanta occurring at the same time this has been going on. And then you have, I think, out in California, there was another young man, a teacher who was recently killed by police. And so right now it is, how do I want to say this? I think there is a tension. There is, it is rampant, I want to say, across the country with police departments having police officers who are out of control, who use their power to intimidate and to cause harm on individuals. They're not there to protect the citizens. They're there to, impart their own power or their own sense of importance. I have dealt with that myself. Here in Seattle, I've had a police officer grope me as
Oh
he
my
pushed me
gosh.
out of the way during a protest. I've watched an elderly man get smacked up at the back of his head by a police officer, the back of his head. I mean, the elder was walking forward and the police officer hit him in the back of the head. It
Wow.
happens. And I think it's wrong to say that protesters are being bussed in. That does not happen. That does not happen. People come from out of city or out of the city, yes. Out of the state, yes. But you know what? That happens with any type of event. That could be a concert. It could be a graduation. People
Very
travel
true. Very true.
for any reason. But
Very true.
it really, really angers me to see this. I see these videos, and like I said, I've been watching since Mike Brown, and it's just a way to exploit Black pain, right? We
Yeah.
see these deaths, we see these bodies, we see the families grieving, and we see the videos played over and over again just for public consumption, as if that those aren't individuals who had lives, who had people that loved them, that won't have people who will see these videos and that be the last remaining image in their mind of their loved one, right? And
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm just, yeah, I'm angry,
Mhm.
and I'm tired.
Yeah.
Um, Here in Seattle, I know, like, we have protest comms, and I know that they're already mobilizing.
Mhm.
And my own sense, and I have to say this, and I'll speak very bluntly, is I'm Black. I have, like I said, I've been involved in this movement for a very long time. But what I have noticed is that out here on the West Coast, this movement has been co-opted by angry white young kids, and I'm speaking very bluntly. So when you
Okay.
see the violence that happens with the city, the windows being broken, cop cars burning, things like that, look at who's actually doing it.
Yeah.
These are people called Black Bloc. They dress up in black. They'll have umbrellas to shield themselves, and they'll go out. And even me, they intimidated me because I was videotaping a protest, and they surrounded me and harassed me. And I'm like, I'm one of the few Black people out here, and you're trying to get me to shut down. So just be
Wow.
mindful of the people who are out there protesting. I know people in Memphis have already said they're not there to burn down their city because I asked my dad, is Memphis divided by race, or is Memphis divided by class? He said it's divided by race. The
It
people
is.
who will be affected the most by burning down, the businesses will be Black business owners. It would be the Black citizens. They're not there to do that. That's not
Yeah.
how Memphis, at least the people I know, that's not how they're going to roll. They said they want to hit the city of Memphis in the pockets. So they're going to shut down streets and make it hard for, semis to deliver, or to make,
So can I play
transportation.
devil? Hold on. Can I play devil advocate with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so like for instance, I hire fire truck drivers. That's what I do for a living. Okay, I know certain companies, if you're
Oh no, did
for a good cause. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just asking.
Could you repeat that? You broke out just for a moment.
Yeah, Chico, you broke out a little bit. Repeat that.
I'm saying, okay, so with them truck drivers that's stuck on 55, I'm not saying all companies, but I do know some companies. If you're late with that load, consider yourself fired. Now, is that something? Is a driver just supposed to deal with that? Oh, well, tough shit. The driver had nothing to do with that. So why would you shut down and hurt the driver financially when he had nothing to do with that? He's just trying to get a load across the bridge.
Here's the
It,
in that comment also what you just said, Chico, kind of goes on with what Mickey's World G is saying. Hey Rabbit in chat, thanks for the discussion. I'm in Atlanta and the governor declared a state of emergency yesterday because of the protests going on for Cop City and expectations of riots. So I think that like the shutdown that comes and the destruction, right? I mean, who is to blame and what do we do and how do we kind of normalize this? This has become something that we have to normalize. I don't know how you feel about this, Krusty, but it seems like we have to have more and more conversations about stuff like this daily.
I can't think of the Martin Luther King quote right now, but I know someone will know it. But it's something to the effect of a riot is the language of the oppressed, or the language of the unheard, right? people riot when they get to a point where they feel that like their city or the people who have the power who can effectuate change aren't listening to them. And they think if I damage the city, if I break these police car windows, they will understand just how angry and frustrated we are, and we want to have this conversation. But what really happens is that people look at that and say, these people are harming the people in the city. They are costing the city millions of dollars to fix the businesses and things like that. It's it's difficult in the sense because you do want people to feel the pain that you feel. When I watched the video, and let me just say, I'm not going to like break it down, but there are 4 different angles they show you in that video, right? And the last angle is the one that shows you like the most about what particularly happened. And so when you watch these videos and you get angry, you do want someone to feel your pain, and you want someone to take you seriously, and you want someone who has the ability to make change to do it. And I was, like I said, involved in a Seattle protest a couple years back when we were walking to the Seattle council member's house every night. And see, that's what the media didn't display, right? They only talked about CHOP and the violence and that. But they didn't talk about the fact that we were going to council members' house every night and protesting outside,
Wow.
hoping that they would adopt change and police reform.
And they never talk about that, right? They never really emphasize on we're just seeing violence. We're not necessarily
Right.
seeing the agenda behind what goes on. Like, whether we're gonna go and do a city meeting or something like that. It's always one piece of it.
Right. And there was like 7 things they were asking for from the city of Seattle. And the pressure was so intense that the mayor did eventually, she didn't step down, but she did not seek reelection. And the police chief, she also stepped down. So that amount of pressure did lead to some change. It didn't lead to the change that we wanted, but it did lead to some change. And that's true for Memphis too, because the police chief there is, she has been involved in police reform for decades. And so that has been something that she has stressed. And I know when I was listening to her interview earlier, she was talking about how important it is to make changes in the police department and how to build trust with the community. But again, when you see these types of videos and you see the brutality, and you just know that, it's how do you build trust again? How do you, right? Because one of the reforms with the city of Seattle was to increase diversity. We wanted to see, police officers here, it's mostly white, right? But they were going into the Black and Hispanic communities and doing their heavy policing. But you can't say that for Memphis. Memphis is what, 50 to 60% Black? And then these police officers, most of them that were involved were Black. And we're talking about a system, right? A system that needs to be reformed. But one of the things we wanted was diversity, because we thought, well, if the police officer looks like us, then maybe they won't treat us so inhumanely. But you can't say that with Memphis, because they were Black officers and they treated them just like that.
And
So
Black officers are worse than the white officers here. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth.
That's what we were talking about. It's like the adoption of the good old boy mentality is pretty and I can't, I don't know how many Mexicans you guys got over there. we are more Hispanics over here.
Hold on. I'm not gonna say we got 1,000,001, but we do have an area called Little Mexico. And
those Mexicos,
y'all know what I'm talking about. Nut Bush.
Said the Mexicos. And then I didn't delete your comment. I mean, maybe there was something put in there, and sometimes YouTube will hold it, and I can't really see the chat on YouTube. But just so you know, hey Vic. But anyways, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
Look, folks, Nut Bush. They know.
They called it the Nut Bush.
They know. It's Little Mexico / Nut Bush / Berkeley.
Oh Lord.
Whatever you want to call it.
Hey Tinkle Tits, welcome. That's interesting. That's so interesting. I mean, it's a different world, you know?
It is. It is. It's just, I, everybody, I promise everybody in the Memphis before the news came out that it was 5 black officers. Everybody in Memphis, it's white officers, it's white officers. Then when it came out, everybody was shocked. And I'm like, I don't know what y'all shocked for because I've dealt with it. I got pulled over a week straight for tag lights I did have and 10 I didn't have. Then I had one saying I was running from him while I'm making a right hand turn and he's making a left hand turn on the street that I'm turning off. So I've dealt with the racial profile. I know it happens here.
I agree. Vic's like, it's like the Mexicans who said send them back and they forget where they came from. Thank you. Mexi Memphis, right. So like here's my question then. All right. So we have all this kind of going on. What happens next? I guess. I mean, I don't know. What do we do?
I know what I heard from people in Memphis is that they want, what is this, the unit called the Scorpion Unit? They want
Yeah, we
them
want them
disbanded.
gone. We want them gone because they harass the black community. We want them gone.
They want, I think one of the other asks that they're requesting is something about traffic stops, that they don't want a Memphis PD to do like traffic stops for minor infractions, right? And some cities have taken that step. If you're not wearing your seatbelt, having something dangling from your rear view mirror, things like that. Minor things that would trigger a traffic stop in some cities. Other cities are saying that's not worth stopping people for. So that's another thing that I've heard people in Memphis are asking for. So they have specific asks. Again, what you won't hear is those asks being, repeated in the media. Instead, that first window that's broken, and irrespective of who breaks that window, that's what's going to be focused on. And then, the whole media is going to be like, oh, they're burning down the city. Again, the people I know in Memphis don't want, oh, I'm sorry, don't want to burn down the city.
And that's what they're waiting on. They're expecting people to riot and loot. They expect the worst out of us, truthfully.
Yes, they do. That's exact. People were counting down the release of this video. There were two types of people, right? The people who were curious about how bad this was. And then there were other people who enjoy the violence. And I'm just speaking bluntly. And those are the people who like watching the actual video, that type of violence, but they also like the violence that comes out of the rioting. And again, just be mindful of the people who are participating, because again, out here in Seattle, these Black Lives Matter protests, yeah, there were Black people, but we had, like I said, a separate group of people called Black Bloc who had their own agenda that weren't there to support Black Lives Matter. They were there to, during that chaos where people are, peacefully protesting, they're going to take advantage of that to do their own agenda. Those are the people to be concerned about. And no, they're not being bussed in. They're just taking advantage of the fact that there is chaos on the streets, and they're going to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of wondering, Chris, if you can message me more information about, I guess, what group what did you call them? Because I'm not even familiar with them.
I'm not either. Rabbit, send it to me too.
Yeah, please.
I want to read it.
Because how can we,
it's Black
yeah, 70
Bloc.
people. Black Bloc. That's what it's called. Let me Google. And then this is like, are these like undercover people that try to be BML?
I hate using this term, but they're a very militant, extreme side of Antifa, right? And again, people use Antifa as the boogeyman. It just means anti-fascist. I'm not, I don't support fascism. I can't even say that word correctly. But anyway.
They're a counter-extremist group.
Right. And so they dress in black. So paint their faces black, not in blackface, but, just so they obscure what they're wearing so that no one can be individually identified. And then
when you say they paint their face black, so these are not black people. They're not black.
no, no.
Oh,
And that,
shoot.
I mean, if I can, I will find a video where I had to curse one out, and I threatened to drag him up and down the street because I was at a protest with a Seattle PD, and I was there before they arrived, videotaping this protest, and they came up to me with their umbrellas trying to block me from videotaping because they don't want to be photographed, they don't want to be videotaped because they don't want to be identified as they're committing these crimes, right? And so they serve a purpose. Historically, they were those who were like the protection for protesters. So, like, again, I've been in Portland where, you know, people have shot outside, you know, shotguns out at protesters. I was there watching when the two young individuals were hit on I-5, resulting in one person dying and the other person being permanently disabled. And so I have seen that violence, and Black Bloc originally was serving as protection, but people have infiltrated that and they're using it as a means to do, you know, this mischief. So again, yeah, Black Bloc, they dress in black, they carry black umbrellas.
Yes.
They're typically young white kids. That's, and
So
yeah, go
the
ahead.
ideology is centered around anarchism and creating chaos. So they kind of thrive in this, you know, whether there's a protest, they kind of jump on it. And I'm just kind of looking into it. They're an extremist. It's an extremist group, and they like it's just they dress in black, and they're just there for the chaos. That's all.
That's
Identity's
it.
concealed, and it's Black Bloc without. So it's black spelled the way it is, and then block, but take the K out at the end. So for those that want to look it up, it's under an anarchist group, guys. So that is interesting. So then that's counterproductive to.
Wait, so I got a question. Is that like the same people that they can? Because I remember seeing an article by one of these news stations, and it may have been Seattle or somewhere like Cali or something. It was west and up north, sort of. And I seen where like one dude had on all black, but they was referring to him as Antifa. So would Antifa folks be considered Black Bloc?
Black Bloc is part of Antifa, but Antifa is not Black Bloc.
Okay.
And so that's what I mean. It's like here, like when we're talking about Memphis and the people protesting, they're shutting down the streets. They're just, you know, going to shut down commerce. Those who come in and commit crimes, who start breaking windows, who start, you know, let's take Atlanta for an example. If you can Google who have been arrested with the Cop City riots, the last 5 people I saw were white, and they were from out of town, and they were participating in that Cop City, participating as Black Bloc. So again, these are people who are on the fringe, who get involved in the protest, and they're the ones committing these acts. But because there's hundreds of, or maybe even thousands of people, because this is Seattle, we turn out like that. They will use that distraction. The cops are focused on the large crowd, and then you will have these Black Bloc members go and break windows, you know, set police cars on fire. They're, you know, and I even hate painting them as the bad guy, but their presence, they're usually the ones behind, you know, the instances of violence that you see. It's not Antifa. And so that's again, one of my gripes, is that we make Antifa out to be the boogeyman. It's not. It's really Black Bloc.
Gotcha. Okay. So,
Do you see that picture right there?
what's going on in this chat? Hold on. Who is?
Yeah, what is going?
Who is Ebelly? And Ebelly, what do you mean by
Thug
Thugville?
live. Yeah, what is that?
What's up with Thugville? I want to know what's up. What reality? Please explain that one to me. Y'all don't block them yet. I want to see they answer. Don't block them yet. I want to see this answer because I got time tonight. I'm on PTO for the next 2 weeks. I got 2 weeks tonight.
What is Thugville?
Yeah, I want to know. Come on. I
Because
need to
I
know.
was watching that too, but I was like, I didn't know what Thugville meant. What is Thugville?
Because
Ebel,
you
you've
got
been
mods that
commenting a
will
lot.
call this out. Mods in this chat will call that out. And I'm one of them. So what's up with that?
I mean, I'm just saying Ebella has been writing in the comments. You're living in Thugville now, and all society is just wondering why the people act so violent. What is Thugville? Thugville has been said to assault the group. Oh, okay, Mama, it's okay. Sorry, y'all. Oh, it's okay. I know. Did she answer? She's rambling.
Oh, okay. I just wanted
I
to
mean,
check.
but now she's quiet.
I just wanted to check because yeah, I watch comments. I don't know why y'all think we don't.
She's saying black culture basically. I mean, I was like before Thugville, she was talking about people complaining about 9 to 5, so I'm lost. It's crickets. I didn't block her, so I don't know. Ebella Thugville. Okay, here it is. Anger fighting angst wants no authority over them in all aspects. What?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense to
It
me.
really don't, but okay. I wasn't gonna go there. As long as she didn't say what I thought she was gonna say, or he, whoever, we cool. I'm gonna shut up.
I mean, if we're talking about anarchists, maybe because again, they don't want any form of government.
Bartlett.
They want anarchy. But again, that's a fringe. That's a separate group, separate than the people who are participating in the Black Lives Matter movement. These are people who have co-opted, if you will, this movement for their own personal agenda.
But I
And
don't know if Thugville is the right word, Ebella.
it,
For
It's
it's
not.
definitely
it's
it's not.
not.
It's not.
Oh, let me go ahead explain to you coming from a black person. Okay, black people are already labeled thugs and gangsters and all of this
Oh no, she cut
because
out.
a lot of people, especially here in Memphis, already consider black people thugs. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, why use that word? I don't think that's the right word. And I don't think that there's anything like if I were to Google
It's a
what the hell
dog
is Thugville,
whistle.
it's a
It's a
what?
dog whistle. It's a dog whistle. It's a dog whistle.
Is it?
Dougville. Yeah. I mean, it's like, so there's a term that they used to call us protesters, dindu. Dindu. Have you ever heard that? Dindu
No,
nothings?
no.
Uh-huh.
It, yeah, didn't do nothings. He didn't do nothing. And
Oh,
again, yeah, didn't do nothing. It's a term that pants up, don't loot, things like that. So when I see this Thugville and the comments that they're making, that's who I'm being reminded of. The people who
yeah.
will always say, "Well, maybe he shouldn't have ran. If he hadn't ran from the
That
police,
Oh
if
my.
if he had complied, if he had just sat on the ground and did nothing, he would still be alive." And
Yeah,
so
that
these are
part.
people who are always going to justify police violence in these situations. So
absolutely.
again, it's just a dog whistle.
I agree,
That
Mickey. Mickey said
part.
that takes away from the conversation with Rabbit on the panel. It does, and I don't know, but Ebella, I mean, if you can use, if there's still a misunderstanding, please explain further. Yeah, I just don't think that Thugville is the right word. If I don't understand, because I think that you're also not. It just sounds very stereotypical of what's happening, and to use that word is just not okay. So maybe find a different word. But I wanted to show you guys the history of Black Bloc. Look at it's white people, and I hate to say it that way, but it's true. It's Caucasians in
I'm
the.
sorry.
I hate it, but I'm just telling you. Look, they're wearing black masks, right? That's what it is.
It is.
This is new to me. I didn't know. I'm like, oh my god, they just wear black masks, and they're all dressed in black, causing chaos during protests. Like this is wow. I learned something today, guys. I don't know.
No, I learned something because I didn't know anything about them. So she taught me something, which I appreciate learning. I don't get mad and pissed off because some people get offensive when knowledge is being put in front of them.
Right.
which is crazy as hell to me.
I
But
had no clue. I mean, I definitely learned a lot today, even in this stream. Thank you, Krusty, for putting that out
Nope,
there,
no
and those are
problem.
probably the ones. Yeah, Tinkle, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, if you're out there, you're thinking you're there for a peaceful protest, but if this is a specific group, an extremist group meant to cause chaos and then kind of blame it on the next protesting group, and then you find out that there's an agenda behind that. I had no clue that this existed. I did not. I mean,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, thank you for that. I didn't
Yep.
know.
And so they're organizing here, like I said, here in Seattle. So if you hear stories about it, because again, that's just how they do it here in Seattle. There'll be people who are participating, who are doing, there to protest for the young man that was killed, who will
Mhm.
be there peacefully. But again, it would just be this little element who like to have these run-ins with the cops,
Mhm.
and it's fascinating because they'll dress up in black and then they'll have regular street clothes underneath. So they'll do their little chaos, and then once the police are deployed, they'll just strip off the black clothes, throw them away in the trash, and walk around in the street clothes, and they will blend in because they're white. And
wow,
so it is, like I said, it's something that pisses me off, because when you hear about these incidents, the violence, and what we do up here in Seattle, it's because of these individuals, and it's just that small little pocket.
and you know
Absolutely. Hey,
what's
Sakina,
crazy?
go ahead.
I was about to say, what's crazy? She's not lying because for the folks that don't know, majority of downtown Memphis, you gotta have money to stay down there. So it's majority white people.
Wow.
And yeah, they'll blend right on in once if they do cause damage. They could.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right,
$1 million homes is on the river.
Mama? Mm-mm-mm. So the right conservative media, when they say Antifa, that really focusing on Black Bloc, and I think that's what Krusty is saying. Puzzles to pieces. That they're confusing the groups, right? Because immediately, like Krusty said, Antifa becomes the bad guy. When really we have these individuals that are running around causing chaos. You know.
Yeah, can you pull up the what is it, Cop City, Atlanta protests, and then Google the people who were arrested? Because again, you will see that there are white people who are being arrested. But again, this is Cop City is being built in a black neighborhood, but it's the white kids that are, coming in with their own agenda, burning police cars and doing that. And yeah, when you think about it, yeah, like I said, it pisses me off because again, it paints the black individuals who are fighting for our lives, who are out there saying, "This is my child, this is my cousin, this affects me." We're the ones being intimidated by this group and being labeled as violent, the ones that are being cautioned not to riot. Heck, we don't want to riot. We don't want to be out there doing that kind of thing. But then you have the separate group who's going to take advantage of that and to further their own agenda, and then leave it on the black folks, right? Because once
Right.
Yeah,
they leave Memphis,
that's
after they burn and they break windows, they are blend right back into their white lives, and allow people to think that this was, angry black people being angry black people again. So
and that
yeah,
was
it's
my
something I
thing.
hate.
That's my thing. Please don't come to this city and get us labeled a bunch of thugs and incels because we're not like that at all. Rico, Memphis, man. But
Mm-mm-mm.
we're not like that at all. We love on everybody that comes here, regardless of what people may think or feel. Now, there's certain areas I do not recommend you going into because you're not gonna get love. But
Mm.
that's every city. I don't care where you go. Every city has their hoods, their places. Don't take your ass across the tracks at night type deal. But we're not that. We want justice for that boy. We're not trying to tear down malls and buildings and
I know
businesses.
you're lying to me. Give me 1 second. Are you kidding me? This is it. These are these were arrested, turned into. These are the people that protested and
Are
were
you
That's what
arrested.
I
serious?
said. That's what I told you. I told you. I
What
told you
the
there's
hell?
someone here in chat who's in Atlanta, and like I said, Cop City is going to affect black community. But look who was arrested for burning the cop cars and doing all that. Yep,
Oh, wow. And then you got that guy laughing on that corner of that picture in that mug. Wow. Oh gosh, it won't even let me through. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Let's visit this real quick. 6 people charged. Arrested and charged in connection with Atlanta protests. Here you go. They're who are these people?
So why they don't see? This is what I be talking about. The media love twisting shit. They really do. Why y'all don't talk about groups like this? Instead, y'all talk about shit that don't matter. These are the people we need to be having in the news and talking about.
They're not even from Atlanta.
We barely heard of people. And see, if somebody wouldn't have shared this, I wouldn't have known nothing about this because we hardly ever get Atlanta news unless it's something that's just national. But see,
well,
That's
that's
crazy.
why we need multicultural, multi-ethnic panels like this, right?
Yeah.
Because again, it's the media who sees the buildings being burned, but they don't investigate, get on the ground. They don't get on the ground to see who's actually doing it. Notice that three of the people are wearing black, right? My
Mhm.
guess, they're probably black bloc. That's my guess. And so again, when you see these protests happening and you see these windows being broken, before you start saying there goes the black people destroying their own,
right.
no, let's dig a little deeper to find out who's actually throwing those rocks. I mean, there are videos from the Portland protests where there's a white guy who walks up with a sledgehammer and starts breaking windows and then walks right back into the protesting crowd. And
Wow.
just yes. So these are
Didn't they
chaos
call him
actors.
out? Didn't somebody call him out on it? Or was I may
Yeah,
be thinking a different time?
yeah.
Because I did
Because
see
they
a
caught
time
it.
where like folks were trying to bust out store windows and black folks was like, "Stop, what are you doing? Stop." I don't
Yep,
know. It may have been a different
yep.
time.
No,
Yeah.
that one made national news. That one made national news because, again, I'm on protest comms. People were trying to say that he was actually a plainclothes police officer. And that's another thing. Police officers do get involved in these protests. They don't talk about it. They are undercover. And they monitor on the ground what progress they're going, like what
Wow.
route people are taking, and if black bloc are separating, because they'll, like I said, they'll shed their black clothes, throw them in a dumpster, and then just get on the bus and go on their little merry way as if they just didn't do some felonies or something like that. But
That
there
is
was
crazy.
that one video, yes, they caught one guy doing that, and that did make national headlines. But again, it's not something that's talked about frequently. And I'm glad to share information about Black Bloc because I have
Yes.
had my own run-ins. Like I said, I've been on the ground at these protests, and they have intimidated me, a black person, at a Black Lives Matter protest. And I'm like, so what's the difference between you in your black uniform and the police uniform at this particular moment if you're both intending to intimidate me and shut me down, right? So they aren't there. I don't think they're good people. Again, in the beginning, the purpose of Black Bloc was more to be protection, but yeah, it's become this anarchy, this means of destroying the city and then covering their tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo-wee. Well, I appreciate talking to you guys about that. I mean, I learned something today. I know the chat definitely learned something today. Um, and I'm like Googling this because I'm like, I didn't know. Like, if you attend a protest, and I mean, Krusty, if you have, I'm curious to know, what do we do if we're in a protest? Do we take pictures of these people? If we feel like, here's Black Bloc, look at them dressed up, and that is somebody that's, there to cause, what do we do? And what's suggested?
They have threatened to harm people who take their photographs. I mean, like I said, I was there set up recording a protest before they arrived, and they circled me with umbrellas, trying to get me to turn my camera off. And I told them, if you don't move, I will dog walk you up and down this block. And that was, I was
I'm
serious
sorry.
too. But that's the
I
thing
haven't
is
heard
like,
that in a while.
Oh my God.
they had picked the wrong one, right? But that's me. And other people who are there, and let's be honest, people who are there with good intentions who just want to protest, to express their anger at what has happened, they will be easily intimidated by these individuals. And unfortunately, I have seen them strike people, kick people. There is a group out here on the West Coast called the John Brown Self-Defense Group. Now, they aren't Black Bloc. They are instead armed citizens who are part of Antifa. And so they show up at the protest with their own guns. And so I've just been in some tense situations where you've had one group with guns and another group with guns, and this is all just at a Black Lives Matter protest. But again, these are actors, most of them white, here on the West Coast. Again, I'm talking about Seattle, not Memphis or anywhere else. But in this particular city, it's mostly white folks who show up with their own agenda, not there to support the Black folks on the ground, who just want to, if you go back to CHOP, are you familiar with the term CHOP?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Google that.
I
So,
will.
2020, Cal Anderson Park was taken over by Antifa, and it became what did it stand for? Citizens Autonomous something, right?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I know
Yes.
exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. Again, you Google who was mostly those camped out at Cal Anderson Park, and you'll find there's a certain demographic who were doing that stuff. But there were shootings that occurred on the ground. People were killed, unfortunately, and again,
The
at
police
least for
couldn't get in. I remember.
that's right. Yes, exactly. The police station on 12th, it's still a big controversy who ordered the police to retreat from that police station, but all the police officers left the police precinct and left like maybe a 5-block area of Seattle without police protection, and it just became anarchy. And again, people were killed during that time. Businesses were robbed, businesses were looted. But again, when you look at who were the people involved in that, they are of a certain demographic. But
Wow.
but the story that gets painted is, again, it's the Black folks who are out there looting and burning down businesses and things like that. But no, it's chaos actors.
At
So
one point, they tried to make it seem like it was the Black folks committing the murders.
exactly.
I
And
remember.
I can say that what happened with CHOP was, again, because of the chaos, there was a gang involved shooting that took place there. Just again, because of the chaos, and the police, they literally packed up from their precinct and left and did not police like 5 blocks here in like a Seattle for I forget how long. I can't remember if it was like 10 days or something like that, but it was an extended period of time. And so, yeah, I was watching when a kid drove across the park, and Cal Anderson Park is like baseball fields, a skater park, basketball courts, things like that. It's a park, and a car just drove right over that park, shooting at people, right? But they think it was not police, gang violence that initiated the shooting. But what happened was there were people on the ground protecting CHOP who had their own guns, and they went and shot that kid who was shooting out the window. So
Oh
yeah,
wow.
it resulted in, I think, a 17 or a 15-year-old kid being killed during that time. So it's called
Wow.
CHOP. or Chaz. There was two different names they used for that. It was like an autonomous zone
Uh-huh.
in
There was a few names because
2020.
I do it as autonomous zone.
Wow.
Yes. But the point I was going to make is that a lot of the protests that were happening up here in Seattle occurred during the lockdown during the pandemic. And one thing that I noticed that people were going out to protest because that was the way they could get outside and that was the way that they can get out, beat curfew. It,
I'm sorry. It's not
no,
funny.
but seriously,
It's the truth, though. You're
it's
like,
the truth. It's
yeah,
the
it's
truth.
social distancing protesting. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna finish
Yes,
my sub sandwich here with my hair
Yeah.
bonnet. But
I
thank you
Presty,
for
thank
allowing
you.
me up.
Thank you for coming up. Okay. I appreciate you because, you're so full of information. And I mean, I know I can count on you and message you if, I need some education on something, but you
Yes,
definitely got me today.
if you need any more information about Black Bloc, because I do have some videos, like I said, of my own personal interactions with them,
Oh
just
my
let me know.
gosh. Wow.
All
I
right.
mean, that would be awesome, actually. And I might take you up on that, where I would love for maybe a video that we can do or something where we're live and then you can narrate, if you can give us some not content, context to your encounter, that would be great because I had no clue. I mean, I did not know, you know,
I
I
didn't
don't
See,
know.
either. I
I
was clueless.
I used to go to protest and record them. I would, be marching on the street and just live stream them. And so that's how I started with live streaming. So I've gone. I think I've got my counts going back to about 2016, like I said, after Mike Brown, 2015. So yeah, I'll dig through my archives, but I think I still have them on my Facebook because I usually streamed on Facebook. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah,
Absolutely.
if you need it, just let me know. All right. Thanks. It was nice meeting you. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, Chico, I'm gonna let you go too because I gotta go tend to baby bunny. You know how
Yeah,
she
I
is.
gotta feed my babies. They looking at me like,
They're like,
uh-huh. They're looking
get
at
up.
me. All
Yeah,
right.
she's over here
Thank
like,
you
Mom.
always for having me on. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
I
you. Thank you,
appreciate
Chico.
it. But
Thank you for the
let's
knowledge.
pray for Tyree's family. Let's pray they get justice. I really hope they do. But with Ballin and Massey as lawyers, I know firsthand knowledge how they do. So let's pray they get justice and let's pray they get convicted on that second degree murder charges.
I'm there with you on that one, and I hope that. I mean, we just gotta pray for this family. And the video, guys, completely up to you, but it sounds like it's a very bad video. So just be prepared if you watch
Yeah,
it. Um,
like I said, if you got kids, I don't recommend you watching it. I don't.
okay.
Now, if you just want to go see it, go ahead.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's bad.
Wow.
So I would go at my own caution. Like I said, if you're not mentally capable of dealing with that right now, please do not put yourself in that place.
Mm,
Don't
yeah.
do it. It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chico. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Bye, y'all.
Bye, Chico. Alrighty, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming out and being part of the stream, being in the chat, participating. Thank you guys so much for your support as well, for just, listening to the conversation. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I definitely learned something new today. Let's keep that family in prayer. Let's keep that city in prayer and see what comes out of this. I'm hoping for justice as well, as it needs to be. And if you guys are out in the streets protesting, please be careful. Please be peaceful and be careful being out there. And this is definitely, yes, thank you. And big trigger warning. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for saying that. If you're watching those videos, big trigger warning because they're just, I don't know. I'm selective about police videos because you just never know what you're going to encounter. All right, guys, you guys have a great rest of your day or night. Rabbits out.